it's Thankful Thursday, and I'm here once again on the blog. For those of you that don't know me, my name's Stacy Danford, and I am the Gratitude Guru. I'm here each week to talk to you about the neuroscience of gratitude and how it rewires and changes your brain to create a happier life. This week we're going to be talking about perfectionism, which is almost becoming an epidemic worldwide. It is taking over people's minds, particularly women, and some of the new studies coming out are showing that the younger generation is becoming plagued by the fear of failure because they have perfectionism as their goalpost. Even children as young as 2 years old are showing symptoms of anxiety, feeling like that they're not good enough. They somehow know that they didn't walk right or get potty trained fast enough or eat all their dinner, and all these things that our culture has unknowingly taught us to teach our children, that perfectionism is what we expect. What we don't realize as parents, that we use our children as our trophies of what's good enough. And when we put our children out into the world as little perfect specimens, subconsciously it makes us feel better, and we feel better about ourselves because other people think our children are great. And we don't realize the pressure that we're putting on children. Psychologists all over are doing interviews with children, asking what they think is causing the most pressure. And, other than the normal teenage peer pressure and, things like that, it's their parents and their desire to please their parents. They go to the colleges their parents want them to. They do the jobs that they feel their parents think are appropriate. They play the sports they think their parents want them to play. They learn, 2 instruments instead of 1. They learn 3 languages instead of 1. And parents don't realize it, but we're constantly comparing our ability to parent towards how other people's children behave. So what we're going to talk about today is perfectionism, and really what it is a fear of failure. Because if we have perfection, then no one gets to criticize us. And the world is full of people who have rejection as one of their main triggers. And as long as I'm perfect, you cannot reject me. If my face looks perfect and my hair looks perfect and my grades were perfect and my ACT score was great and my SAT and I got into this college and that college and I got the right job and I graduated in, the perfect 4 years, it didn't take me 5, and all these things, then you can't talk bad about me. Well, we wonder why this country is also suffering from a lack of mental resiliency. A lot of my clients ask me about anxiety and depression and talk about, their lack of ability to come back and do things over and over. And we've lost the resiliency in this country especially. And the United States has fallen several years in a row on the world happiness scale, despite the fact that we're one of the most developed countries in the world with the highest standards of living. People in the United States are becoming less and less and less happy. And did you realize that the United States also has dropped in life expectancy 3 years in a row? We're the only developed country whose life expectancy is going down. And that is based on deaths of despair. Those deaths are suicide, drugs, and alcohol-related illnesses. And people in this country are suffering, and they're wanting some kind of reprieve from their suffering. And that is what I hope to share with you today, that gratitude can be slightly a reprieve for a moment in the day when you feel less than perfect and when you feel like you're not good enough. So I know as a parent, sometimes we look at our children and how they behave and think that that's kind of a mirror to ourselves. And I've even said this to my children, "You're embarrassing me," or "What are people going to think?" When really maybe we should wonder, what are we doing to cause that? Are we creating anxiety in our children? Are we keeping them so busy that they don't have enough time to sleep? Are we putting so much pressure on this college that they feel like they can't compete? Do we feel so much pressure to compete with our friends and our neighbors? And do we feel like we have to be perfect for our husband? Would our friends not like us if we weren't perfect? And this has become the biggest reason for anxiety, which I wish I knew the statistic, and I'll go back and look it up. But the percentage of people that are suffering from anxiety, I know, is giant in this country. And 1 out of every 4 women between the ages of 40 and 60 are taking some kind of medicine for anxiety and depression. 1 in 4. And we are doing so much of this to ourselves. And it's all based on our brain and how we're making the connections and how we're thinking. So if we have perfectionism as our means, our goalpost that we're constantly shooting for, we are never going to achieve perfection. There's always somebody out there, faster, smarter, better, prettier, taller, shorter, thinner, fatter, whatever it is that you're searching for. Even the gold medal Olympians don't always win the gold medal 2 years in a row. There's somebody that beats them at the world championships. There's somebody that does something to outdo you at all times. And it's up to us to realize that when we have perfection as our goal, every time we don't achieve it, our brain is telling us we're not good enough. Yeah, you weren't good enough. You should have tried harder. You should have worked more. You should have spent more money. You should have taken more lessons. You should have, shoulda. We should all over ourselves, because we think that we are supposed to be this, and we will never be that. It's impossible. So what gratitude does, even if we mess up, and I'm somebody that's made 1,000 mistakes, thousands and thousands. So if you mess up, use gratitude to teach you, as it's an opportunity to learn. So I'll take me for an example. I'll be vulnerable and say, my marriage mess ups. How can I be grateful for that? How can I be grateful that I hurt someone? How can I be grateful that someone hurt me? Well, I'm not grateful for that. And gratitude doesn't teach you to be ridiculous and be grateful for everything you do. But what it does teach you to do is to be grateful for the opportunity to learn the lesson. So the marriage where I screwed up, where I hurt someone else, I am so grateful for that lesson. Not the lesson that I hurt someone else, but I saw firsthand what my actions did to someone else. What it did to people long term. It was a chain reaction. And I know in my heart the consequences of that, and I will never forget it. And there are people all over who I see hurting, and I understand that hurt now. I know it. I know how that feels. And I'm so grateful that I understand that, and I have some wisdom to be able to help them. In a marriage where I got my heart broken, I also am grateful for the opportunity to be able to help other people who are heartbroken. I'm not grateful that it happened, and I'm not grateful for the consequences of that, but I'm so grateful for the lesson. We never see things in the moment, and in the Bible it says all things work together for good. It doesn't say all things are good. It says all things work together for good. So if you're going through something right now that's less than perfect, and everyone in the world knows you've screwed up, try to find some sparkle of opportunity for you to learn a lesson, and be grateful that all things work together for good. Not right now maybe, and not right in this moment, and you may hurt so bad you just want to lay in the floor and cry, but it is an opportunity to learn that someday maybe you can help somebody else with the wisdom that no one else has. And be careful of the pressure that you're putting on your children to be perfect, because they're telling researchers all over the world that their parents are the people that are putting the most pressure on them. If they can't speak 3 languages, does that mean they're a bad kid? Are they not going to get into the college that you want them to get into? Are they not going to have the job that you think is perfect for them? Are they not going to have the life that, God made them to have if they can't do all these things? Let go of all of that and be grateful for this child that you were given. Be grateful for this moment that you're in, that you get to watch their little face, that they struck out and they came to the dugout and they'll do better next time. Be grateful for the little boy that ran to third base instead of first base because he thought that was the way he could go. Be grateful for the fact that your son scored 2 points on the wrong goal and how precious that is of the innocence of a child who was trying their hardest and forgot it was the wrong goal. Be grateful for the kid whose instrument is squeaking in the middle of the concert because that's your kid. That's the one who's trying his hardest. And when he comes home and feels like a failure, instead of saying, practice harder, do more, be more, you should have done, quit shooting all over them and say, you know what? I'm so proud of you for being the kid that went through that mistake and came out smiling. Because we make mistakes our whole entire life. And what you do after the mistake is the measure of your character. We can all be great when things are going great. But what you do when things are crummy is what the person that you become. So quit trying to be perfect. Take your failure, take your mistakes as a stepping stone in moving forward. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope we make the world a happier place to be, and spread gratitude somewhere today unexpectedly. Look for one thing out the window, out the hallway, somewhere. Find something that you're grateful for that you didn't notice yesterday. Spread happiness to the world in the face of gratitude. Bliss and blessings. Thank you. Have an awesome, thankful Thursday. Bye.